Hey you guys, Charlie here. Welcome back to Conquering Kerbal Space Program. This video was actually going to be after another episode. I was going to have one between this one and the previous one that was uploaded, but during the recording and sort of during editing even, I've decided not to upload it as an episode because primarily it's like 15 to 20 minutes of just maneuver node editing, and it's not really it's not interesting enough, I don't think, to make it worth your time. So I'm going to essentially just summarize what happened in that episode. I went ahead and I launched the Interplanetary probe. I launched it out and to get it out of the sphere of influence of Kerbin, and I was messing with maneuver nodes trying to get to Minmus because I wanted a Minmus flyby. And essentially, again, like 15 or 20 minutes worth of maneuver node editing, trying to get myself around the moon because the moon kept getting in my way to get to Minmus, and the inclination change to get to Minmus was pretty expensive. I didn't want to spend the extra delta V that I just put in the gas tank and spend a lot of it on changing my inclination for Minmus when the whole goal is to get to interplanetary space. So I was trying to basically work out a maneuver node where I go past the moon and use the moon's gravity to whip me around to get to Minmus. And that's exactly what you're going to see in this episode when we actually, when I sort of get myself out there and with this probe, you're going to see that those maneuver nodes that I had already worked on sort of there. They've been edited since then, and they're a little bit different in this episode than they would have been in the unseen episode. So there's that. But I just wanted to come here and just sort of do this whole post-commentary thing just to let you know that this may not have as fluid of a transition from the last episode as it's supposed to, only because there was technically going to be one between that you just didn't see. I may upload that one, like an unlisted video somewhere if there's interest in it, if you want to watch and see all the little maneuver node editing I did. And I did a very thorough explanation as to why I was doing maneuver nodes the way I was doing. I'm actually kind of a little bit upset at myself just for taking so much time into something that is really not that interesting to watch. But anyway, here is this episode and all of the content that goes with it, and I will just let myself in the moment take it away because this episode is not post-commentary. It's not supposed to be anyway. So thank you for listening to me ramble. Have a good one and enjoy this episode. Hey you guys, what's up? Charlie here. Welcome back to Conquering Kerbal Space Program. At the end of the last episode, we launched our first interplanetary probe. Now, it's not interplanetary yet, of course. I kind of ended the video right after we sort of made the burn and got the first maneuver set up around to kind of bounce between the moon and Minmus. But I was going to go ahead and make the episode and make it sort of all about that probe. And then I realized that I have no way of communicating. Like, I have no way of talking to that probe. So, yeah, because once it gets out of Kerbin's sphere of influence, I literally have no dish that is prepared to handle such a thing. So, this is our, well, at least it will be once I get the orbit circularized, but this is our new interplanetary communications relay, which is pretty cool, I think. I am going to give you a tour of it, I swear, just as soon as I basically make sure that we're in orbit and everything is fine. I think it'll probably be all right, though, if I just talk through this. It's not that complicated to get into orbit from here. So basically, this giant dish on the front is the ComSat-1. It is a dish that is capable of reaching pretty much anywhere in the solar system, or in the Kerbal system, I guess. It has a 350 gigameter range. It is the furthest reaching communications dish that is in the game. And I have one of them on this. And boom. There we go. Little tiny engine that could. At least I think it can. And then we have 4 of these Reflectron KR-14s, which is pretty nice. These are the same ones that are on the other satellites that are roaming around the planet. And I thought, I could just have one of those do it. And I probably could, but we're gonna need something that kind of helps them anyway. So, and I kind of want each of those satellites sort of pointing at a dedicated source, which is Duna, the first planet we're gonna visit, as far as like with Kerbals on it. So, yeah, I'm kind of thinking I want those guys to just sort of do that. But this is going to handle all of the inner planets. So one of these will be on Moho. I said it right this time. I have no idea why I was saying Mohu before. I think I saw something like in a movie recently, and it was just still in my head. And once I said it once, it just sort of sounded right for some reason. I really don't know. I don't know, but either way, it's pronounced Moho, guys. We know it's pronounced. I know what it's pronounced. Now, these reflectrons were actually going to be clipping. They were going to be sort of smacking into each other. So check how cool this is. Oh, and before we... Oh, sorry. So this is a little dark. Let's activate the lights. Haha. I thought, you know what? We could put some lights on this. It'd be cool. So we got a bunch of lights on this. It's lit up. It looks beautiful. And look at this. With Ven's stock revamp, the texture pack that makes all these things look a little different. I mean, doesn't this look really good? Doesn't this like go together really well? I've got these little octagonal struts sort of sticking out of the batteries here to help sort of mount these satellite dishes on. And I just love how the wires sort of come down, almost like if you look at it from this angle, you'd be like, oh yeah, these are wires that go and run, you know, for the satellite communications. It just looks so sweet. And then you can't actually mount anything inside here, but you can mount it in a way that it looks like it is. So the lights kind of look like they're meant to be. I just think it's super cool. Also, if you're wondering what this thing is, this is sort of a replacement that I have on this for the Communitron 16. Because, well, the Communitron 16 has a 2.5 million meter range, which is fine. That's the one we're using on all of our satellites around Kerbin and the ones that are on the moon. But for this satellite, I kind of want it a little bit further away from Kerbin. And so I want to make sure it maintains a connection even though it's a little bit further away. So I went ahead and I've added this one. This is the, I have to remember the name, the Comtech EXP VR2T. It has a 3 million meter range. It uses a little bit more power. It costs a little bit more money. And I have no idea where this comes from. I don't think this is a stock thing. I want to say it's Ven's stock revamp that added this, but then again, I don't think it is because Ven's stock revamp, all of the antennas and dishes are not compatible with RemoteTech. So I'm actually thinking this is a RemoteTech part, which is kind of cool. I think it is. I would show you the animation where it sort of extends out. And actually, I have footage of it. I was recording it during the launch, so I guess I'll probably play that over top of this footage right now, just so you can sort of see it. But I can't really show you that at the moment because if I retract it, I lose connection. So I'm not going to do that. This satellite also has these two little ones down here, which are just going to keep an eye on Minmus and the moon. And they're going to do that because, just because. That's the reason. They're going to do it just because. I said, you know what, we can put them on there. Might as well. So there you go. It's an interplanetary thing, but it's also keeping an eye on other things as well. And then there's a bunch of different batteries. There's some batteries that's been added to go with it, and a little bit bigger fuel tank than before because I want to get in a very eccentric orbit, which is a polar orbit, by the way. So here's our polar orbit, and we're on our way up to the top. Yeah, it looks like we're kind of on our way up to the top, right? We are moving that way, yes? Yeah. So when we get to about the top of the planet, right about here, I guess. Maybe not, maybe a little bit. No, I think I'm going to do it here. Here. We're going to burn prograde. It's going to kick our orbit down like that. And I'm hoping I have enough delta V to do this. I probably don't. I've got 411. Okay, well, it's better than I thought we had. Let's go down, 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 down. Let's just type, make sure this is 411. We'll use all of it. Get Kerbal Engineer out of the way, hopefully. We'll just make sure that the prograde burn is exactly 411. So we'll take 10 away from it. And there we go, 1107. It's fine. Yeah, that's probably good. So that burn, well, let's put it into the flight computer so it does its thing. Cool, it'll happen in 1 minute. Awesome. It's working its way to the node now. So this burn is going to bring us down to where our apoaps will be, or our periaps will be 106, which is actually, That's actually not as close as I wanted it, but I'll have to do because this is also not as far out as I wanted. I didn't quite have enough delta V to do this, I guess, but it is what it is. It'll be what it is. The reason I'm doing it this way is because I want to limit the amount of dark time we have for the satellite, and at the moment, burning this way, getting an orbit like this, there's no dark time at all. Absolutely none. And dark time's not exactly that important for this satellite. Not really, not as much as the other ones. But the main issue with this is that if we're pointed towards the sun, that's a good indication that that's where the other planets are. I mean, it's possible, of course, Duna is behind us or whatever, but the outer planets can be behind us, but the inner planets are always going to kind of be towards the sun comparatively, or like relatively to us. So this probe that's going out, there it is, on its way out to, you know, do its whole thing with the moon and all that stuff. That probe is, oh, we're burning right now, aren't we? Yes, we are. We're burning. Oh, a noble paragon in the comments, I forget who it is off the top of my head, mentioned to me that if I reduce the gimbal on the engine, the flight computer won't do this. So let's try that. Let's go like this. Ooh. Now I won't want to take it off completely because it does need to make its own minor corrections, otherwise it will go off course. But I think like that's not bad. It's pretty good, actually. I'll leave it at 10. It kind of works. Yeah. Good job, man. Forget who you are. I really forget. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll mention you in the next video or something. Shout out. Maybe I'll put an annotation right here. That's your name. Thank you for that advice. That's good. I'm going to go ahead and just kill that command now. And that should be good. Okay. So now let's get these things pointed where they're supposed to be. These are already pointed where they are. Let's get this one. We're going to point you to Eve, just because it's the first thing that my eyeballs saw. We'll take and point you to Duna. Okay, good. We're going to take and point you to Moho. Good. And we'll take and point you... there's no more inner planets left, and you can't reach Jewel. So how about active vessel? Okay. Now this one, I think I probably should also point to active vessel temporarily, but eventually I want this pointing at Jewel. Although there is really no reason to point this at active vessel, because if the active vessel doesn't have one of these, then it can't communicate with it. I'm going to point this to Jewel. And by pointing this at Jewel, I'm actually going to complete a contract, I think, as well. Let me see. Jewel, where are you? Launch a satellite that can reach the outer planets. Target Jewel. So I will hit Jewel here and activate. Oh yeah, there it is. One at the outer planets. And now it has a testing time for 4 days. So that's good. It's 350 gigameter range. Jewel is 76 gigameters away, which is why these little guys here can't reach it. 60 gigameter range. So that will complete that contract, which is great. So this satellite can just sit up here now. I don't need it to do anything. I am going to maybe rotate it a little bit to point it at the sun, which would require me to turn it the other direction. Do I not have a... Oh, it's just really heavy with all these dishes. I was going to say, do I not have a reaction wheel on this thing? But I totally do. Okay, just point it out this way. And we'll call it good. Yeah, maybe we'll call it good. Okay, flight computer. Just go ahead and kill that rotation for me, will ya? That'll be great. Okay, so there is our nice little communication satellite. I think it's nifty. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. It does exactly what it needs to do and nothing more. And I used every single drop of my fuel to get where it is now. So that's cool. So this episode was originally going to be dedicated to that interplanetary satellite. So let's go ahead and check out that probe. And of course, by interplanetary satellite, I mean interplanetary probe. So here we are. We just launched away from Kerbin. We're kind of turned on our side, which I'm gonna guess is not the best thing. Let's get a quick little rotation so I can get these solar panels pointed at the right way. Oh no, there's no connection. Why is there no connection? Well, I'm out of range for the... Oh, these are collapsed. Oh, dang it. I didn't extend these. Oh, I didn't even target him, I bet. No, I didn't do any of the targeting. That's a problem. I don't have a connection to this. Oh, but it actually won't be a problem very long. Okay, never mind. It's not a problem. Because we're going to be going by the moon, and we're going to be 458 kilometers away from the moon when we do our burn, which is easily close enough to connect with our satellite network that's currently set up at the moon. See how that works? That's pretty nifty, I think. That'll work. Let's do a time acceleration and get ourselves a connection back here. We'll just accelerate time. There's the moon right there. We're approaching the moon. It's like this dark shade approaching us. Oh, there we go. And we have a connection. There we go. See? See? It's like I planned it all along, guys. Really, I was just planning it the whole time. I don't even have the maneuver programmed in here, which is a thing. So, yeah, node and execute the maneuver at the time. Okay, for 15 minutes until it's going to do its thing. I don't even need far open. I don't know why that's open. Now, before I forget, like a dummy, let's go ahead and extend these. I'm not sure what... This one definitely needs to point to Kerbin. So this one will point to Kerbin. Okay. Now, these... I'm not sure what to do with them, but I'm going to point them temporarily. I guess I'm going to point them at the moon and Minmus, I guess. I don't know where else to put them at this time, so that's what I'll do. Oh, that's really great. Get out of my way. Minmus. There it is. Okay, won't have to worry about that problem anymore. And we're just going to rotate a little bit here. Give our solar panels a little bit better energy. Flight computer is really fighting me here. It does not like me moving on my own. So we're over the moon. Is there any science we can do while we're here? We can do a... Oh, this is the other wrong view. Here we go. Yep, we can do a magnetometer scan. Okay, we didn't have a magnetometer on the last thing we did, so... Or none of our satellites have a magnetometer. That's weird. I thought for sure one of them did, but I guess not. So there's that. And 8 science. Transmit that. Sounds good. I am going to put this back in just for the sake of aesthetics. It doesn't look good sticking out like that. If there was another one on the other side, then I would just probably leave it. But okay, we did the radio plasma scan, which we have that right here. So we have every reusable experiment available to us installed on this vessel, which is pretty good. I like that a lot, actually. So let's do time acceleration till we get to our burn. And actually, I'm going to do that gimbaling trick on these engines too. I don't want this thing moving around. So let's limit the gimbal here to like 10. This guys. I wish I could maybe just do this by default. Is there like a default setting? Because I'm going to be using RemoteTech a lot. Okay, well, this thing does not want to cooperate. There we go. Okay. Time acceleration. And my dog's going to bark real quick here, so I probably won't talk while that's happening, so I can cut the audio out. Delivery guys, man. What are you going to do? Quit ordering packages? No way. Let's put X science down here. Take a look, Kerbal alarm clock. There are no alarms, which means that my second maneuver is not planned. It's alright, I'll get it planned. Alright. Ready to burn. And here we go. Look at that. Steady. Steady as she goes. There is a little bit of a wobble. You can kind of see a little wobble, but it's nowhere near as extreme as it used to be. That's nifty. I like that. Okay, so we've got our burn over the moon, and that adjusted our trajectory, if you remember what we were doing here. We go over the moon, and then we kind of are going to pass by Minmus on the way, and I can't get that to, it's too sensitive. Let's focus on the Minmus real quick. Okay, here's Minmus, and we're gonna be passing right by Minmus, and we need to adjust our orbit now because that burn did not go well there. So let's go ahead and let's see. Well, we're gonna need a maneuver, so let's come out where our vessel is, and let's set a maneuver like here. And that's too quick. 50 seconds. I can't do it there. 2 minutes and 15 seconds from now. Okay. 2 minutes and 15 seconds from now. I don't know why the map glitched out there. 2 minutes and 15 seconds from now. We're going to focus our view here. Let's burn. Let's see the angles. I want node 1. Angles here. Probably this way. There we go. 7, 8, 9, 8, 1, and 10,774 meters. Can I get closer? I want to get closer, just because. Too close. So the tallest peak on Minmus is about 10K. That's the tallest peak. I like to live dangerously. Let's go 10.11. Let's just do that. Let's do 10.1 kilometers above, whatever. So I want to put into the flight computer and execute that node. Okay. Let's come back here. Let's check everything out here. Do I want to extend more solar panels? Do you think I need to? I mean, we're doing okay here, but this is going in and out. So I think we're good as long as we stay in the sun. I don't know why I don't need this one pointed at Minmus because it's not doing anything. It's pointing at Minmus. In fact, actually, let's point it at Kerbin instead. Just, because it's Kerbin. So let's do that instead. This is pointed to Kerbin too, but this has a sort of cone, and that cone is pretty narrow at this distance. It's meant for longer range. Wait, here we go. It's meant for longer range. So if I turn this on, you can't really see it because it's going to show me all of them at the same time, but you can sort of see the cone at which this is looking. Actually, no, this one appears to be fairly wide. I think this one here is it. Appears to be fairly wide. That might be that's the Communitron. Okay, never mind. That's the thing I just activated, the little tiny thing. Whatever this is. This Communitron DTS. It's not the ComSat or the Reflectron. Okay, so we made a burn. It was ridiculously small. You saw it was like a puff of smoke. I probably should have limited the thrust. Let's turn these off. Probably should have limited the thrust on those engines so that it'd be more precise, but let's just take a look where we ended up. Did the flight computer overshoot? No, it actually landed us like right at 10, which is nice. Okay, so there's that. Now our maneuver is still here, which is not good. But our maneuver is exactly 260 normal. So what I'm going to do is just delete the node, and I'm going to redo it. 260 normal. 260 normal. There. Same maneuver, same time as it's supposed to be. Face the node, execute it. Okay, so there's that. Go back out of map view. Check out our craft. It's going to orient itself towards the maneuver. And we're just going to check our craft to make sure that it's not... Aha, see this? Look, electric charge. See that? It's starting to drain. Now I'm pretty sure it's draining because we're moving ourselves down. What's this? I'm getting Conduct a survey around the moon, all of our debris that we didn't collect because I don't put parachutes in my stuff, even though I installed the mod that lets me collect. Okay, that's what I wanted to figure out. So these solar panels are not in a very good spot, and as you can see, we're draining. So I'm going to rotate like this and let these solar panels absorb the sun, hopefully. You always have to make sure, no matter what, that you have solar panels facing the sun at all times. Super, super important. Okay, so we can pretty much time accelerate now and go to Minmus. Now, can we find Minmus? Do you see it anywhere? I do not have distant object enhancements installed. It was creating a bug for me when I installed it before. I may look at doing it again. But anyway, let's see if we can find Minmus. I know it's over here somewhere. Oh, I think it's right here. See that tiny twinkle on the screen? You probably can't see it in your screen because it's YouTube, but I can see it on my on the 4K monitor here. I can see that little tiny twinkle. I think Minmus is right there. So as we time accelerate, watch this little area here getting like a beast in the night approaching you, waiting to strike. We're gonna see the dark side of it, so it'll be a little creepy, I think. There it is. Ooh, look at it, just kind of approaching us. Oh yeah, Minmus is hungry. It wants Kerbals. We will give it Kerbals soon, very soon. We will give it Kerbals, because that is our next major science, I guess, farm, if you will. Okay, we are now in Minmus's sphere of influence, and you know what that means. It's science time, and my camera is awful. Is the camera mode free? Is that the one I'm supposed to use for stuff that I want when I want to do stuff? It's free. I think it is. I'm not sure how to control the camera and move it up where I want it, to be honest. I'm not very good at that part. Okay, so let's do the magnetometer. Let's do the radio plasma wave data. 6 science for that. We'll transport that or transmit that. 9 science for that. Get that going. What else we got? We have log pressure data. 18 science for that. Nice. I need to move around here. Let's do, where is it? Temperature, there it is. 12 science for that. Let's go ahead and log that. I think that's all the experiments I'm gonna run for Minmus. I know we have mystery goo and, man, I just cannot get a grasp on this camera thing. Where am I? There it is. I just don't know why do they always focus on the middle of the vessel? Like, I don't understand. Magnetometer, let's bring that back in. Actually, no, you know what? Leave it out, because we're gonna pass by lower Minmus too, and we're gonna get science from that too. The reason I'm not doing mystery goo and the materials bay is because I have a limited number of these experiments, and I want to kind of, I might end up visiting more than one body out near the solar system, so I kind of want to save them for when we're further out. Although I do have 4 material bays. So, but the thing is, like when the Kerbals, like when manned missions go to Minmus, they're gonna get all these things anyway. So I'm not super concerned about it. I'm gonna use the reusable ones on like everywhere I can, and then I'm gonna use the non-renewable ones in very select situations where Kerbals may not visit or come and get it for like quite some time, or maybe even at all. Although the fact that they won't do it at all is pretty unlikely, considering we're going to be, you know, putting a base on every single planet. That's right. So we're going to be entering lower Minmus now, I think. Pretty quick here. Hopefully. At some point. I think you have to be within 50,000 meters. maybe a little bit lower than, I guess. X Science is not showing any new experiments being available. But I'm pretty sure it will be soon, so I'm going to get these windows ready so I don't have to peck them down later. It may pass, this opportunity may pass by quite quickly. Okay, so our burn's coming up in 1 minute. Facing the node. Ah, here we go. All the science is available now. So log that, log this, and log, whoa, what did I do? Atmospheric pressure I did, magnetometer, and temperature, which means I need to do the radio wave plasma thing, which apparently that window didn't stay open. There we go. Okay, I did all the science. All the science, guys. It's done. Let's make this burn. Look at that. Look at how close we are to Minmus. See, we played it safe. That's probably like 3 miles away. We could have came in closer, right? We played it safe though. These are pretty tall though. This is definitely high. Not gonna lie, that's pretty high. Yeah, mountains here for sure. It doesn't look like our science is biome specific. Like, what's this one? If I observe this materials bay, it's gonna give me in space near Minmus. Yeah, it's worth 50 science, but only 15 if we transmit. And I am going to transmit, and like I said, in more harder to reach, more harder to do situations. Okay, the burn is complete around Minmus. So let's check it out. We're going to be ejecting, and we're kind of ejecting downward. That's why we made that burn, and there's a reason for that. And the reason we made that burn was because I'm not sure where we're going to go, but I have a feeling that we're probably going to visit Eve. And so to sort of preempt that feeling, I burned down to get our inclination closer to Eve's inclination. Okay, so I kind of want to play around with some maneuver nodes and see where to go, because the position of these planets does not agree with our plans. There's nothing is in the right plane or position or whatever you want to call it. The planets are not aligned for us to do any sort of maneuvers right now. Mohu, again with the Mohu. I don't know why I do that. I'm sorry. Moho is actually kind of close to the right position. So like if I like schedule a burn here in 12 minutes, for example, just like this. And granted, my inclination to Moho is not good either. I would have to make the plane change here, which I can do, but once I make the plane change to Moho, I am completely committed because there's no chance of getting any other encounter. And that's why I'm kind of thinking I want to, maybe go to Eve and use Eve's gravity to sort of twist me and tilt me somewhere so that I don't have to really spend the delta V, to make this plane change. That's what I'm thinking. Like if I can enter Eve's sphere of influence and maybe circularize a little bit, or just enough to where I get captured by Eve in the proper inclination, which I can plan ahead of time, then, maybe I can use the fact that Eve's got such great gravity, I can use that to my advantage to not only lower my orbit for free so that I can sort of get closer to Moho's, little orbit circle here, without spending fuel, but also to adjust my inclination a little bit closer to Moho to give me a better chance of reaching it. And then I get science around Eve at the same time, which is pretty cool. So I think that's what I want to try to do. That's what I've been thinking about doing. Let me go ahead and play with some maneuver nodes here and see if that's even going to be possible in the future. But before I do that, I don't want to have to deal with going in and out of anymore. So I'm going to, first off, I'm going to delete this node because I don't need it. Then I'm going to time accelerate until we are out of the sphere of influence of Minmus. So there we go. I'm not sure why it's... Oh, there we go. That's better. So this is technically still a Kerbal sphere of influence, technically, but we are going to escape. Is there any science? No. Let's just escape. Let's go. Let's get out there into the world. And by into the world, I mean into the solar system, away from the world. And there we go. We are now... I think. I can't see the line. There it is. We are now in a solar orbit. And we have all sorts of experiments we can do because we are above the sun, high over the sun, which is a very fortunate thing. If you're going to be over the sun, it's probably a good idea to be high over the sun. Let's go ahead and take some of these science experiments. We'll log the magnetometer. We're going to log the radio... Oh, wait, no connection. What? Wait. How do I have no connection? Well, that doesn't seem right. Now, wait a minute. I have the satellites. I have the dishes that have the range. Wait. How do I not... How do I not have a signal? I don't understand. Well, they are pointed this way, but there's a dish here that's supposed to be pointed towards active vessel. And it doesn't appear... Well, maybe it's behind. I don't know. Maybe if I zoom ahead a little bit, I'll get it back. I mean, this satellite's supposed to be able to reach. I'm really lost. I should have had a signal dozens of times already. This is pointed at Kerbal. I mean, this is worthless, but like, this is definitely pointed at Kerbal. And it is activated. And it has a 60 gigameter range. I'm really confused here. Okay, let's go back to the Space Center really quick. I want to investigate this.